Hello, this is Austin Collinson, and this is my podcast where I analyze literary theories and stories. So today I'm going to be analyzing the story of Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been by Joyce Carol Oates. It was first published in 1966 in the Epoch magazine. The story was inspired by 3 Arizona murders committed by Charles Schmid. Oates originally had named the story Death and the Maiden. This story is about a girl named Connie who is beautiful and at odds with her mother, like most teenagers today. She spends most of her evenings picking up boys at a big boy restaurant due to her beauty. Soon, she gets some attention of a stranger, and the story takes a wild turn when the stranger shows up at her house while she is home alone. The story soon becomes like a horror film, so if you're scared of horror stories, stay away from this podcast and stay away from reading this story. Turn away now from this haunting podcast if you don't want the story ruined, as there will be spoilers ahead. I thought about doing the literary theories of psychoanalytic and reader response, but I've decided it would be more interesting to take the route of doing the literary theories Marxist and feminist. So the definition of feminism is feminist criticism examines the ways in which literature reinforces or undermines the economic, political, social, and psychological oppression of women. First of all, the story starts off by Connie wanting to go to the restaurant parking lot just to talk to older guys. This makes it show that maybe some women make finding a man in their life their primary goal, which I do believe some teenage girls today get way too caught up in finding love and trying to find that right man. On the second page, she thinks to herself, but all the boys fell back and dissolved into a single face, and that was not even a face, but an idea. This makes women look as if they are dependable on a man and that Connie just wants a man that she can marry and she doesn't really care what they even look like. Going now to Marxist. Marxist definition is getting and keeping economic power is the motive behind all social and political activities, including education, philosophy, religion, government, the arts, science, technology, and so on. In all, Marxist is about money, class, and power. Connie feels as if she's very powerful as a 15-year-old and that nothing can stop her. For example, once her family left for a barbecue that she didn't choose to attend, when it says on page 2, Connie sat with her eyes closed in the sun, dreaming in days with the warmth about her as if this were a kind of love. The caresses of love in her mind slipped over onto thought of the boy she had been with before. The power seems to be all around her until a car shows up when she's home alone. Arnold Friend shows up with his friend Eddie. On the car it says done by a crazy woman driver. So going back to feminism, you already know that Arnold does not respect women based on this phrase on his car. Arnold then eventually says on page 6, I'll come inside you where it's all secret and you'll give in to me and you'll love me. So now going back to Marxist, the power is starting to shift towards Arnold, but now feminism also, Arnold sees Connie as nothing more than a sexual object. And I think in today's world, sometimes men believe they have the right to do whatever they want to a woman, sexually and physically. So going back to Marxist and the power, Connie tries to shift the power back towards her by locking the door and going to call the police. But Arnold keeps the power by saying it's just a screen door and that he can come in and break in easily. So Connie grabs the telephone but ends up dropping it as she is not strong enough to call the police, and the power seems to shift towards Arnold again. And the power throughout the story kind of went back and forth with Connie starting with it, but Arnold wins the power, and the phrase on the last page that kind of proves this is, she was hollow with what had been fear but was now just an emptiness. So Arnold has won the power, and along with feminism now, it represents some women have their lives controlled by men no matter how much they fight. And unfortunately, some men feel as if they can control women's lives both sexually and generally, and they feel as like they have all the power on like the side of Marxists. So this has been the podcast about the story, Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been? With the literary theories of feminism and Marxists. Join us next week where we will analyze the story of structuralism and historical criticism in the story The Yellow Wallpaper.